Hey, and welcome to Northern Chris. If this is your first time joining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. New video dropped every Friday. In this video, you can see that green dirt bike buried in the back of my shed, buried under all these other projects. I'm gonna get it going again. Paid $96 for this dirt bike, believe it or not, a few years ago. It's missing the front fender, as you can see. Doesn't have a gas cap. I just put a garbage bag there. Other than that, works great. Just got to tune it up as it's been sitting in the shed for a few years. One other thing that was missing was the rear sprocket. It wasn't attached, so I had to put those 4 bolts there. Wasn't a big deal, quite easy. So let's get into getting this bike up and running again. It's a 90cc 4-stroke Baja bike. It's from Canadian Tire here in Canada. First step, take the airbox off, pull out the air filter. It's very filthy. Then do the clamp for the gas. Remove the fuel line. Make sure you turn the fuel off. As you can see, got dirty old gas all over my hand. Next, 10mm wrench. The 2 bolts that hold the carburetor onto the intake. This is a super easy bike to work on. These motors, they last forever as long as you take care of them. This one was running really rough, smoking like crazy. So I figured I should clean it up and get this thing going. So again, there's a gasket on the intake. The O-ring was disintegrated and only half of it was there. This clamp from the airbox is the only thing holding the carburetor back on, as well as the throttle, the cable with the needle, and the barrel. So pull that out. This should pop right off. I didn't want to do the intake, remove that from the motor. Next step, Phillips screwdriver, remove the 2 bottom screws. It should just split in half. As you can see, this gas is yellow, it's dirty, it's old. So one thing I purchased a little while ago was a bunch of old 110cc ATVs. Came with this box of parts, and luckily enough, I had another one of these intake plastic gaskets with the O-ring. I was trying to take the O-ring out, couldn't, so I'll just replace the whole thing. Put that back until I need it again. So now it's just replacing the intake, making sure it fits that gasket. Everything I can tell, same size, everything looks good, perfect. So now to clean the carb out, just use some carburetor cleaner and just spray every hole in there. That's where the fuel goes. There's some intake jets. And you just spray each one of them. You can use air as well. Sometimes I use air compressor. Lately I've just been using the can itself. It's got enough pressure. So one thing about this carburetor is the pin that holds the float. It's pressed in, so you actually can't. You can see me with a pick. I'm trying to push it out. Normally that comes out and I can remove the float, which removes the actual needle. In this case, I couldn't. So I just sprayed and cleaned out the needle spot as good as I could. Again, this spray is very cheap, so use as much as you want. Make sure everything's clean. Clean off all the old residue. As you can see, here's some old gas. Got really sticky, so you want to clean all the surfaces. This float bowl looks good, but you can see I'm digging for something in the corner there. You can see on my finger. It's a weird like plastic, like jelly substance. I think that's just old gas and oil sitting in there for years. So again, clean off both sides. Spray down everything with carb cleaner and reassemble it. So again, it's just the 2 Phillips screws holding the whole thing together. I didn't touch anything else other than spray everything with a carb cleaner. It usually does the trick. So here's the old air filter. You can see it's falling apart, super old. Felt really, really strange, very spongy, and not something you want to have going into your intake. So you can see here, as I hit the table, all that stuff. So all that stuff was going into the intake, which is not good for the motor. Didn't have any air filter material, so I had this old magic eraser. Figured this is a good temporary fix. So again, clean the plastic cage. I'm going to sandwich the magic eraser between the two. One thing I also did, I didn't film it, was I sprayed it down with some oil to keep it from getting dust inside. That should help this sponge last a little bit longer until I get the proper material. So you squeeze those two plastic pieces together to hold the foam in place. And once you have that, there's tracks. You slide it inside the air box. A little finicky because the foam was a little bit too wide, so I'd use a flathead screwdriver to get it all the way in. Then you put the air box cover back on, 3 Phillips screws. Sometimes they may fall out, as they just did there. Now put the carburetor back in the air box. That side first, it's easier to get on. Now the new gasket. And 10mm bolts. Crank them down, hand tight. Drain the old gas. This gas, luckily there wasn't much in it, but as you can see, it's orange. It shouldn't be. I usually run premium in all my small engines, so it shouldn't look like that. Shake the bike, make sure I get all of it out. I poured a little gas in the gas tank and shook it around a bit more, drained it all out. Now you can hook the gas line back on. In this case, I couldn't get the throttle, the slide barrel, and the needle back into the carburetor. So unfortunately I had to take the two 10mm bolts out so I could twist the carburetor to slide that barrel back in. Once you get in place, you screw that back on, and then you tighten the 10mm bolts. So putting that intake gasket back on, here are the two 10mm bolts. Again, crank them down hand tight. Next step is changing the oil. I've never done that, so it's a 17mm wrench in my case. Take out the drain plug, and I'll show you here why I hate the design of this dirt bike. That skid plate is in a terrible spot, so all the oil just drains all over it and goes everywhere. I don't know why they didn't just drill a hole there so the oil drops straight down. Once all the oil's drained, put that drain plug back in. 17mm. Then I take some brake cleaner. It's a trick I learned. Spray down all the metal that had oil in it, because that seems to evaporate it and drain it out. That way you won't have any oil drips on your driveway or in the garage. Next, top it back up. 10W30 in this case. You can use multiple different oils. This is suitable. I did check the manual. Takes about a liter or so. Just check the dipstick. Now that's changed. Got to pump the tires back up. Again, they were flat, as you can see. No air at all. I put about 25 psi or so in these. Might be too much. Now the next thing is check the spark plug. Again, it was smoking when I first tried to start it. You can see it's all black, covered in soot. I should replace the spark plug. I didn't have a spare one. So I just took some carb cleaner and some sandpaper, sanded it down. There you go, looks brand new. Put it back in. Tighten it back up, hand tight. Now it's ready to start. Will it start in the first kick? Let me know in the comments below. Oh. Once again, thanks so much for watching. This is Northern Chris here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. New video drops every Friday. As you can see, having a bit of difficulty. I'm adjusting the choke. That's what I'm lifting that little lever. And there you go. Starts right up. So with some basic hand tools, you can get your dirt bike running just like this. It does idle. In this case, because it's cold and I'm still adjusting the choke, it did die on me. But after you ride it around a bit, there's no issues at all. So again, didn't get much footage, but here I am leaving the garage after I got it started. And a quick video of my buddy ripping down the dirt road. Thanks so much for watching.